1:30, we'll call the meeting to order. And why don't we go ahead and start off with a prayer. Scott, you got that one?
Good afternoon, folks. Let's begin today's meeting with prayer. Dear Lord, we come to you today to guide us, to help us, to make the correct decisions that will guide Mount Vernon Towers into the future and help us to be aware and conscious of all the people that live here, all their special needs and their wants and their desires. Help each one of us to show that love that you would show. We ask these many things in your name. Amen.
Madam Secretary, do you have any announcements?
Just the normal, hello. I can't see with my glasses on. Just the normal, if you have your phone with you, please turn it on silent. That helps us a great deal. And welcome. Y'all came in here to get out of the heat, I know, so thanks for coming.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it's 95 degrees, so right after this, everybody in the pool.
And it will be 100 tomorrow.
It's going to be 100 tomorrow?
Yeah.
Ooh. All right, well, everybody in the pool and don't get out.
Pool party.
All right, so we'll start with the main minutes. We all had an opportunity to look at the main minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the main minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, everybody. Is that a vodka tonic you got there, or is that water?
Agua.
Okay. All right, so Rita, go ahead. You can take it away.
All right. So first I want to mention, as you see on the screen, this is something new. We will also send out in the Towers Talk more information about it. It's just a new way that we're going to be communicating. We'll have Taylor up front next week on certain dates to kind of help you sign up for it if you want. But basically it's just a way that we can send out a mass text. You don't get everybody's number, it just comes to your number. During certain announcements and so forth. We'll still communicate the same way that we've been communicating. It's just a extra, easier, faster way to communicate. So it's like if you ever sign up for coupons, you know, you get them all the time. So that's what that's about. Alrighty. So for May, the total revenue was $511,692, which did finally include the T-Mobile antenna rental. Our total expenses was $424,808. We did have a little bit of unplanned issues that pertain to the boilers. Our net income is better than budget for the month by $16,000, and we're favorable in the year so far by $218,000. In forecasting the remainder of the year, I have anticipated that we will use all of our budgeted unplanned expense as we will be replacing a boiler in July. We've gotten several quotes for that, and we're roughly close to $50,000. We are also favorable in legal expenses for the year by $50,000. However, our electricity is 15% higher, and I can only assume that it's going to continue to increase with the temps that we're having. We're encouraging residents to not leave their sliding doors to their balcony open because it freezes the AC unit up and floods the unit below you, but also for the electricity. I know some residents say they don't pay for electricity, but every resident that lives here in all 300 units are paying for the electricity. So please be mindful, turn your lights off, turn your thermostat up 1 degree, help us out there. The personal care center is continuing to thrive as we continue to have 16 residents, which leaves us 2 empty rooms. One is a shared mail room, and the other private room, we're completing renovation on that room. We do have a wait list for females. My forecast in dining shows some favorability to labor cost, but not as much as I hope to see in the next month. We are using little temp service at this time. Once I see a full month's financials, with that, I will adjust the forecast to reflect if needed. For the forecast for the rest of the year, we are showing favorability over what we thought we would have with the budget when we processed that. Moving on to cash, we're showing a positive cash flow that will continue throughout the year. I've transferred $160,000 to the capital account. That is the amount that we discussed last month that we originally borrowed in March of last year. And while we're transferring $15,000 a month to the capital account, I would suggest to the board that we increase that by $5,000 a month for the remainder of the year, which would be transferring $20,000.
Okay. All right, so just looking at the numbers here. So we're looking positive cash for the rest of the year, and it's consistently positive, which is can't say that for last year. And the only real liability is what we don't know might happen, and then we still have the liability with Morrison's for 122, up to 122, should we not successfully dispute that. But
Right, and in the cash forecast, I included that number in there,
It is.
assuming that we're,
as if it
yes,
was obligated.
I've got a footnote.
Okay, well, that's good then. I don't, while it's just, one pocket to the next pocket, right, it just feels fiscally responsible to put money in the reserve while we're waiting to see what we have, because the more money we have in the reserve for the longer period of time, probably the better if we were to go borrow, go to the market. It would look better. So I'd be in favor of, I'd make a motion to increase the reserve deposit to 20,000 for the rest of the year.
I would second.
Okay, that's great. That's good. You good?
third.
You good? You third it? You fourth it? Fifth it? Okay, great.
Okay, I'm gonna start that in June because the the transfer hasn't come out yet.
All right, good. I mean, that's just good news. That's just good news. That's all I'm
Very
gonna say. It's
positive.
good news. It's good news. It's really positive, especially in such a tough climate.
Right. Right. So after I did the $160,000 transfer to the capital account, our total capital account has $1,277,179. Our operating cash was $307,021 for a total cash at $1,584,200. We increased our cash in May by $56,695.
Hey Rita, have you looked at the coverage of the operating and I know you did it a couple of months ago, the dues and the operating and where we are dues versus operating, whether or not we're meeting it or under it or?
I did. In May, the operating costs with the HOA revenue did not cover the operating expenses
Okay.
for May.
We never, not never, but when we forecasted the budget, we weren't expecting to be there this year.
Right, not until
Right,
23.
at the end, we weren't expecting to be there this year. At some point, let's go back and look and see where we are relative to our expectation, because it's halfway through the year, and we should know where we are.
Okay.
Okay.
If there's no questions on the budget and the cash, I'll move on to meals. For May, we served 6,567 meals, which has been the highest number in over a year. I thought kind of it might have been related to the a la carte dining, but when I got to thinking, we didn't start the a la carte dining until June. And that process is not perfect yet, but we're continuing to work on it. I know a lot of people's asked this question about specials. Starting this week, we will add a special vegetable for the week, and we will now allow specials to be ordered to go. We also had a couple parties in May. We had 329 attendees. That was also in the meal count. And just, looking back with the contract with Morrison's, I know we said this a couple times, we did not factor any party numbers in. So Going to building maintenance. I know everybody's aware, a few weeks ago, we had the issue in the boiler room. I've stated numerous times that we're running off one boiler. We are looking to replace it in July. Meanwhile, we have went out and seek to have a quote from Fire Systems to install a carbon monoxide detector in the small boiler room up here and in the boiler room down there. It only makes sense to install the detector if it can be tied into our fire system, which is monitored at the front desk. The quote to do that is $15,800. I am prepared to move forward with it unless anybody on the board has any objections.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid.
I'll second.
Aye.
Okay, all good, all good.
Another building issue that we've got currently is over the last few years on the top deck, on the very top deck, we have 16 poles that provide lighting. Over the last few years, a few lights have went out. In order to replace those lights in the ballast, we have to rent a lift. Well, we currently have a bigger majority of the lights that are out up there. Our options are, we can rent a lift ourselves, which we have in the past, change the lights, but then we would have two different types of lights up there, or we can have a professional come in and change them all to LED with new ballast. I had Rick go out and get a quote for that, and it's roughly $23,000. It's not something immediate, but we are having quite a few work orders about some concern at night up there. Any thoughts on that?
Make the motion, we push it off to next month meeting.
Just, so that we can have some more time to think about the options there.
All right.
Yeah, unless you got any thoughts.
No, I was gonna say, let's look at the option to rent our own lift too, what that's gonna cost. Because I mean, we've got the skill level in-house, but I just like to see that, to know where what kind of bargain is.
Plus, if we were renting a lift, we might want to think about what else we could use it for while we got it.
Sure.
Good one.
Okay.
All right, we'll just wait till next month.
We have a motion on the floor, though.
The motion is to put it off for a month.
Second.
All those? Aye. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Recording Secretary.
You're welcome.
Keeping us on track.
All right, sales and leasing. I'm not sure if Jerry's here.
He's in there.
Oh, you did make it.
All right, so this month, we just added today, as a matter of fact, 3 new one-bedroom listings.
Hold your microphone up, Jerry, can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better,
Yes?
better.
We've got 3 new listings going on today for one-bedrooms. As you can see, all the ones that say new. Otherwise, we're about the same. We've got a few left, and I don't know anything coming in the near future, but this is what we got, so we're pretty much still sold out.
So we've got 4 for sale and 3 for lease.
And one of those, by the way, I think 504, which is for sale or lease, I'm getting ready to get a lease for that, so that will be off.
Okay. All right, that's all I've got. The board have any reviews?
Board review. What does that mean?
Any comments?
No, the only other comment that I'd make at this point is that we had a meeting prior to this, and we just talked about, we're not really gonna talk about capital planning at this point in the meeting, because a number of things have come up. We know we're working through pricing on the big chases that, we're talking about. We still got some more work to do with that. We had an architect come out and give us some ideas about a little bit more thorough look at the building. We've had an engineer come out again and look at, you've seen crayon on the wall, with looking at some cracks. So, all in all, what we decided in our prep meeting, rather than sort of try to talk about all those things, because there are a lot of different things, whether they're, which we don't really have a lot of good answers quite yet to, and it's putting a sort of a little pressure on us being able to come up with what is going to be the capital budget, because you try to see how, what order of operation you put things through, when to do what, when, how much those things cost. You get economies when you do more than one thing at once. So we've decided to, I think Scott and Reed, you guys are going up to the manufacturer tomorrow of one of the systems, and we're going to get a line up pricing on those different systems, and then we're going to go through a process of getting to an architect, and then so we'll have more about that. I was hoping that we would have that capital budget done by now, but I think that it's so important and it covers so many years that doing it right is the most important thing that we're going to do, because it's a big project. So that's the only thing that I would add, to make sure that folks here knew that, and we'll move forward with the plan to sort of assess it all. Does anybody else have anything they wanted to add?
You might also add that on floors 3 and 6, we're going to be doing some.
We're
Okay.
we're gonna move forward and start getting quotes for painting on floors 3 and 6. Those are the 2 floors that still have not been renovated.
Anybody else? Okay. I think that sort of concludes the board business. It's great to have a hot day and I can jump to the pool. But I guess we'll leave it. Does anybody know?
I don't have any
there were no questions that were written for us, so we don't have that. So I'll leave it up to, you guys to ask your questions. We got one at the back of the room.
There's 120 condos, I understand, that are owned by investors that don't live in them. What was the split again between those that have a lease on them and those that do not?
I would have to go back and look, because I know I just noted today that we've got a few more for lease now than what we did have.
Okay, can you send me a text on that then or something? And a couple months ago, when we repaired the PCC nurse call system, we dumb lucked into repairing the condo emergency call system also. And at one of the board meetings, I think April, Reed, I believe you said that you were going to conduct a test that each emergency call system in each condo was working. Has that been done?
That's a routine test that we've always done. I'll have to look at the maintenance on it. I do know that they have tested quite a few since PCC has gotten a new system, but it's on a regular scheduled maintenance, just like they do the sprinkler heads.
So when they change the filter, or what
No,
kind of
it's
sequence is it? How long will it take, I guess, to test it is the main question.
It's over a couple days. Yep, a maintenance guy sits at the front desk while another maintenance guy goes to the condos and pulls the nurse call.
So do you think they've all been done since the PCC system was repaired?
I would have to go back
Not
and
sure.
look.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for the attorney to give us some feedback on some letters about the delinquent HOA payers. What's the status of that?
You mean a collection policy?
Yep.
Right. I submitted something to him to review and critique, and I touched base with him this week, and he's out having surgery, and he says he'll get back with me next week.
That's kind of been the answer we've been getting for 3 months now. Is it time to have somebody else take a look at it?
Well, it's not been 3 months since we submitted something to him.
We've talked about it in here for 3 months. How many people are delinquent today out of the 300 condos?
Out of the 300 condos, we have probably 15 people that have not paid for the month of June yet.
And some of those 15 for prior months also?
Yes.
That's a pretty big deal in our cash flow.
Right. There's some people that pay about the middle of the month. Some people pay at the end of the month. We kind of know who those are, but we do have a couple people that are delinquent more than the current month.
I'm on the committee looking at the Chase repairs and other things. And in looking at the bids that came in, there were 2 bids that flat out said that they were for painting the building. The owners voted on that by some 75%, if I remember the number, that did not want the building painted. Why are we going out for bids for painting the building when the owners have said we don't want it done?
Well, I mean, there's no bid for painting, okay? So what
Yeah,
we
there is,
asked them
Brian,
to
there's
do,
2 of them.
right? Okay, so what we asked them to do was give us a quote that covered sealing with color, okay? And so it doesn't, but what we have always said, Dan, is that whatever we do, when we get to this capital budget, when we get to this thing, this vote goes out to the owners. We're not making any decision about any of that, but we are going to make sure that we understand what all the variables are, what is aesthetic, what is structural, what is safe, and when we have an understanding, that's not part of the problem that we're having, is the bids are coming in differently and they're covering different things. So what we're trying to do is understand those elements of it so that we can actually plan for it and present it. It's not a decision that the board here is going to be able to make in and of itself. We have no authority to make an expenditure without that, like that, without the owners voting on it, so.
I understand that, but somehow it ended up in the vendor's lap that they were being asked to paint, because that is the word that they used on 2 bids. Big bold letters, not seal, paint.
They're using that as a waterproof design, because you don't have to have color.
Well, what Dan is saying is true. The quotes do include a color for the ceiling, but there are also clear sealers available. And so because the owners have specifically stated they are, and I think Dan's correct, about 75% said they would like not to have the building painted, and whether you seal with color or put on paint, it changes the appearance. And so the owners have said they don't want to change the appearance. And again, as Brian said, you know, we're going to bring this to the owners with a complete program, so that would again be revisited if that were the recommendation that came forth. At this point in time, we do not have a recommendation, and we are very aware of the fact that the owners stated they do not want to see the building color changed. So we'll go from there.
I emailed a couple questions about the dining room, and one you answered is that we can now take out the daily lunch special. Does that apply to dinner too?
Right. Starting next week, you can order the specials to go.
Okay. And then as far as to go, if you go in and pick up, well, first of all, it says on the menu under entrees, it lists the daily special. And the other night, we were told the daily special for dinner does not include a salad.
Right, I addressed that with them when you sent the email, and the response back was they would review it with their team because that is not true.
Okay, good. Michelle at the desk said we could not take out soup.
Right, we do not do the soups to go. We don't even have containers to put them in.
Okay, you used to, but you're
Right.
not anymore. Is that right?
Yep.
So it has to be a
There's
salad.
there's
Would have-
62 cents for a soup container to go. It doesn't make sense
No.
financially.
Okay. Because I had actually asked the question of could we not pay a la carte for a soup?
No.
No. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, and I shall so move to conclude the board meeting.
Well, let's talk about the next meeting.
Yeah, I always forget that too. So I've got on there the 20th just to stay consistent, but I think you have,
Thank you, Scott.
One of the reasons I brought that up is that I have a conflict with the 20th. That whole week I'll be out of town.
okay, then we're gonna have to do it the 27th then. Because the 13th would be too soon to have the financials completed. Or do it any, I mean, do the 25th, 26th, or whatever you guys.
I don't have any particular conflicts either time, so.
What about 15th, Friday? Too soon?
That'd be too soon.
Shall we move it then to the 27th?
Yeah, I'm good with that. You guys good with that?
27th, 27th,
27's fine with me.
move it to July 27th, 1:30. Looks like it's okay with Reed too.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay,
Okay.
moved.
All right, now,
Good second. So adjourn.
so adjourned at 1:56. All right, thanks, everybody.